Hey everyone. So we are going to start moving on this second to last project that we're doing. We're doing a carving project. You can again do this in any soft material. You can do it in potato, you can do it in apple, you can do it in wax, and you can do it in soap. If you don't have any material, I mean, you can even carve butter, right? And then eat it, or you use it in your cooking. That's fine too. Any soft material will have you work with it. With the butter, you have to think about having nice, uh, cold stick of butter. You don't want to be doing soft one. But I decided today that I'm going to turn George here because I don't need him and I don't want him anymore. I don't think he's important anymore. I'm going to change him into a profile of a Native American. So I'm going to be working with the profile of George and then trying to change his proportions just a little bit to find a Native American face. I think those are the true forefathers of our country, and I think I would prefer working and looking at a face of Native American instead of, George. All right, so sorry. That. So it's just slight differences in proportion, okay? I'm going to start moving and bringing the nose back in space down here so that it's more of it at an angle, and then bringing the forehead up a little bit and figuring out this hairline. I don't need that hair wig that they used to wear. Instead, I want to take that back and put on a headdress. That was a Native American headdress. So first, let me go into that nose, right? I have to carve a substantial part of that nose back. And then even though there's a bit of a brow, and it carves a little bit further in. And again, for your carving tools, anything, this is an old set from my grandmother. It was her nail carving set of all things. It's not used, obviously, it's not gross, but it does have some nice points, especially into soft material, where I can really take away sections of that and get that profile in there. So again, this assignment does not have to be realistic, right? You don't have to be carving faces. You can be considering carving a word or anything that doesn't serve you. If you and you're going to erase that word and use it or eat away at it if you're using an apple. I can take this whole brow off. It's a male face that I'm looking at of the Native American, so I can really take this back. I still want to leave a little bit of the brow. For males, there's a bigger brow over here. All right, so I can leave a little bit of that bump for the brow, but then I want to take the rest of this forehead back. And his hairline starts early on in his forehead because there's a hair that comes right around. So if you are sculpting faces, they can also change based on who you're sculpting. And it's not, because you already have slight proportions of the face, it's not hard to change it into a different face. He has a hairline going here and then curving around the ear, which is somewhere right here. I'm going to take that hair, it's going to be tucked behind the ear. So again, on this side, when we're doing a profile like this, the ear is the first thing that pokes out. So I want to make sure that I carve down from everything that's not the ear. So this whole part of the face is actually going to be going back into space. We're going to be carving that. I need the top part of the ear, and there's hair. There's a bit of a braid here that I'm going to be working in. And his hair, because there's no wig, right? His hair is going to be, his hair headline is going to be much lower. We do want to look at, again, the eye is going to be halfway in the head. So he has a head down here. I want my eye to be halfway. So just, you can measure out those proportions. We're going to be, here you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have, I'm going to, Joe, close my door, please. I have the ear starting here. I'm carving everything that's not the ear down. The bottom of the ear, again, the bottom of the ear lines up with the bottom of the nose. So if I have the bottom of the ear, sometimes it's a little bit lower. I want to get that ear in there, that bottom part. And we think our proportions are, you know, vastly different, but, you know, we're different human beings, but there's certainly mathematical formula that it's not very hard to go from George Washington to a profile of a Native American male. I wish I knew his name, but of course they don't give me that in history, which is another reason I want to carve him instead. So he has an Adam's apple. I want to carve around there. And he's also wearing a bandana. So I want to carve everything from the neck. The bandana and his clothing are the things that are sitting on top. He also has this beautiful hair that comes down. And actually George's hair can just be cut. And that could be his shoulder right here. So little adjustments to the carving will suddenly start making another different face. I want to get the ear again. It's going to be somewhere here. I do want to carve out the ear. The hair is sitting right behind, so that hair that's coming from this man is carved right around. And goes behind the ear. I have that large indent at the top of the ear. There's that large indent that goes in and carves away for our acoustics, for us to hear. There is this part at the top of the ear. And I do have his hair coming and cutting down this way. I'm going to leave that. But I am going to tuck away all of this. That's his hair. He has a braid that goes right behind his ear up. So I'm going to keep working on this, but you guys don't need to be watching the whole thing. It is slight adjustments and working with whatever face inspires you, or, you know, because this will be wiped away. You might want to think about something that does not serve you right now and carving it. And, you know, if it's the virus or being sick or being isolated, whatever that word is for you. You can write it into the soap. You can wash it away. By the way, you can paint the soap. You can use watercolors. You can so that it stands out even more than it does. because carving only gets it so deep and so dark, right? Based on how much pressure I put on it. But if I paint it, then I will get even more of a contrast. And that will give me the drawing and the painting of it. If I can get these areas darker, say if I take paints, oil paints, or watercolors to this part over here, that's going to make it that much darker instead of me just carving. So you can use a combination of carving and painting. I can take away part of his eye, and he's looking forward and open. His eye is somewhere over here. I'm going to make that deep incision, and then for his eye, goes right out to the corner. And there's, right? You can make that quite deep, especially for the eye. I want that eyeball fully there. And he is looking. There's the lower eyelid. There's the upper eyelid, right up here. And there's a deep groove right where his brow is meeting and going to the nose. So I want to get that deep groove in. Anyway, yeah, change and alter to what serves you the best. I want to get some feathers. He has some feathers in the back here. So I'm going to take this and create from George Washington's headdress or headpiece wig to a beautiful Native American. Okay, so you can, for this week, you can go ahead and sculpt anything that is relevant or meaningful, anything that you want to discard, anything that's not serving you anymore. Carve it into soft material, wash it away, eat it away, bake it away if you're using edible things. The other thing we need to talk about is final. And the final, I want to be very clear that it's not something that you are doing that is extra. All of you work tremendously hard. We actually need to teach you how to stop working so hard. Do a little less, be mindful of your own overworking, right? Because that stresses the body out. My number one thing in the class, in any class, is well-being, right? You can't make art until you are safe, which right now is a crazy concept anyway, until you feel well, and until you can sort of enjoy yourself for a few minutes. Even in these extreme situations, it's important to find time to just sit, breathe, recognize that you're alive, right? Recognize that there's a, oh good, San Joanna. Okay, great. So I'm going to continue this conversation. Hello.
Hello.
How good to see you.
Me too. How's everything?
Oh, a little crazy. Hi, Jeremy.
How you doing, Professor?
So I'm happy you guys are here. I was talking a little bit in this platform by myself, but I started doing this carving. We have a subtractive carving process as an assignment. But I was just talking also about the final. So I'll send you a recording, but I'm happy to see you. First, how are you guys, both of you doing?
Good, thank you.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Jeremy, how are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm doing good. Just came in from work. So, I work in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
How's that? What's going on there?
A lot of people tested positive.
Yeah.
Staff staff trying to treat patients.
Yeah. And are you guys protected?
Yeah. Most definitely.
Good.
The whole gear, mask, shield with the visor.
Yeah.
All of that.
And how are you dealing with the stress of it?
Dealing with the what?
The stress.
Oh, pretty much just trying to not let it phase me. Just finishing out the semester and trying to maintain things here at home.
Yep. And how's that going? How's home life? How's the family?
Everybody's doing good.
Good. There are, I heard that there's some hotels that are giving rooms for medical staff in case you need to separate from your family, right? If there's, so just and when you're home, you're doing all the procedures. I'm sure the hotel has told you, right, when you get home. So it's probably more than you need.
Yeah.
But really for this class, I think it's important for all of you, especially you all work too much and too hard. And we need to find a balance for you with not doing so much and not working so hard. So having time for yourself to relax, to meditate. What are you guys doing to relax?
Man, that's a good. Well, trying to watch movies.
Watch movies. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean something. Joanna, what are you doing to relax?
I watch movie too.
Yeah.
Be on my phone.
What are you doing to kind of keep mentally stable in this crazy time? Anything for yourself? Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do to kind of maintain your spirits and just keep your wits about you, because it's a really interesting time. Yes, it's and in the hospital, it must be a stressful situation to begin with. So what time do you start your day, Jeremy, and what time are you done?
I'm up at like 5:30 and work by 7:38.
Mm-hmm.
I just literally got in the house like a few minutes ago, just trying to get onto this, so you don't think that I'm avoiding the class. Yeah,
no, you don't have to think that at all. And actually, for those of you, obviously, there's for all these classes, it's not a mandatory class. I will put, like I did before, I posted videos and I found a way to put them on YouTube so that you guys can have access to them in your own time. We basically have 2 projects left for the rest of the semester. I don't know what the schedule is for finals yet, but my goal would be that we could possibly find a time to get on at a reasonable hour, even if it's on a weekend or something, and have a final critique and look at the work. Okay. So, so with the final, I want you guys to really think about what is it that you personally need to feel healthy, to feel well, right? There's ways to think about, meditation or whatever, stretching. Do you get down, besides watching movies, do you unwind with just sitting and not doing anything? How often can you sit without doing anything? Do you just to sit still?
Man, that's a good question. Pretty much when it's time to go to sleep.
Right. That's what I thought, right? Like when we sleep is when we stop. You can start pausing, even if you have 10 minutes in your day. Do you have breaks, Jeremy, when you are at the hospital? Can you go outside and breathe some fresh air?
I can.
Okay. So I think, go ahead.
To be honest with you, I tend to not do that, only because to limit, going back and forth inside the elevators, walking down the hallway, interacting with other employees or even patients.
Right. So there's the danger of meeting someone and having contact. Okay. Do you have time on the weekends to go for a walk somewhere in nature where there are no people? Joanna, for you too, do you have like a trail you can go on or some beach that you can go walk on?
No, but I'm at work. I have a lot of free time because I do home health aid. I see a lot.
Okay. So does that mean that you're considered right now an essential worker? So you're at work as well?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What are your hours?
I do 8 to 4, Monday to Friday.
Okay. All right.
But I relax a lot.
You relax?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good. Good. I think it's very important. So I think we need to talk about like well-being and how to keep your physical and mental well-being. 20 minutes a day in the sunshine, getting vitamin D, surrounding yourself with plants that give you oxygen, right? All of these things right now, even though they looked silly before, and we were kind of running around and working hard and just being very busy, we didn't consider how important our health is, right?
True.
So especially for classes, in relation to classes and in relation to all this stuff that you have extra, understand that colleges are going to change. We are now going to be, I think my idea or I think this virus will be around for an extended time. It's not going to be the end of the month and we're done. My guess is that this virus is going to be around for a lot longer, probably more like 2 years instead of 2 months. Okay, so I think this is going to go up and down over the next 2 months or 2 years, and we need to find a new normal or a new way of kind of existing in the world, right? Mm-hmm. There's also a tremendous amount of sort of positive things that people are not talking about, because to humanity this is devastating. At the same time, for the environment and for the things and for clean air, right? They were saying that in China, because the pollution dropped so much, in fact, there were more deaths associated with pollution in China than from COVID-19. So meaning that COVID-19 actually saved lives because the country shut down and because people didn't have to have the smoky air to breathe. So people with asthma, now I can't confirm if that's, if that's real or not. But if you look over Boston right now, right, it's the clearest it's ever been. Because there's no cars on the road. Also oil consumption, right? The thing that the digging and the drilling, which is another sort of, we think that we're the only human or only forms of life on the planet. Now the animals have a chance to actually go out and we see wild turkeys in the neighborhood. We see coyotes in the neighborhood. I mean, this is never, the animals never had a chance, right? I think we can't go on that way, and we can't go polluting our own selves. We have to be mindful now that we need fresh air, and maybe we shouldn't be driving like crazy, right? But with all the traffic. But regardless of the environmental benefits for yourself, right? There's a number of plants that will give you oxygen. So this is a very common plant that could be actually reproduced really easily. This is a penny plant that you can buy anywhere. And what's great about these things is that they produce these long kind of vines that kind of they grow and grow and grow. You can cut them up with each leaf and then replant them. This is like the third baby from this mother plant that I had, or fourth or fifth, I have no idea. And you stick them in the soil, the leaves in the soil, and they will keep on growing. So that's one that gives you oxygen. There's another one. So thinking about well-being and health, there's one plant that will give you oxygen throughout the evening or throughout the night, and that's the snake plant. Yeah, exactly. Yes, make lots of them. Make lots of them in every room, okay? Once it starts growing a vine, there's usually a little root that with each leaf, there's a root that grows with it.
Plants that's touching the ceiling.
What?
We got some plants in the home that's touching the ceiling.
Yeah. They start growing from everywhere. And with those little roots, you can cut with the leaf and you can stick them back in the soil and it'll just mass produce. Snake plant is another one that'll give you oxygen while you're sleeping. They take in carbon dioxide in the whatever and they release it in the air. So this is a good one for the bedroom. And again, you can cut off the leaves, and you leave it in water, and suddenly it'll start sprouting these little, I don't know if you can see them. They're little roots system. So then this can go directly back into the soil. If you know all this, I'm sorry to be repeating it, but I think it's kind of a critical time to think about your health and your well-being and how to support that. Certainly growing gardens and having a community garden. I was thinking for Roxbury Community College, there's these raised beds that they have in the back, which we can plant some edible plants in there and stick them in the ground for the community to eat. You know, there's also a lot of, actually in Boston, there's a lot of plants that you can eat straight off in the urban setting, and I will send you some information about that. There's a yellow plant called the forsythia. Do you know what it is? It's a 4-leaf, bright yellow. It's comes out on twigs, and then there's like these bursts of yellow, and they're sprouting right now everywhere.
Yeah, when they're the golf course along Franklin Park Zoo.
Yes. And they are edible, and in fact they're good for your upper respiratory system. So taking off the yellow part of the flower, they do have a little green bottom so you need to pinch that off. They're a little bit bitter, but they're really healthy. So what we don't teach is that there are edible things and medicinal things right outside of your door, but because they want you to buy from the supermarket, we don't know this whole culture of food to eat that will provide us. So especially the forsythia plant right now, and it's blooming for us right now. It's a great thing to eat, and I'm going to try to find an image, and I'll post it also on my courses. And I think so it's this one. Let's see if the digital will go with the digital. Probably not. So it's not just on my phone. It's a yellow. That's not. No, that's not doing it. But it has 4 leaves. It's called forsythia, and you can look it up on Google. They're these huge bushes, bright yellow flowers, and it's actually the first flower that comes out in the springtime. So drop those into your cereal or into your soup, and eat lots of it, especially now. Right, and then there's thyme. All the spices right now are very important, especially if you cook with spices. Fabulous, you know, garlic, ginger, all of that. You know, anything that you can throw in with your food for spices, great stuff. With our final, I want to focus on not doing. So I think we're going to have a balance. There's a balance between creating sculpture and making forms and working hard. I talked about in this first project on subtraction, how to carve into soft material. So there's proportions of the face. I'm taking George Washington's face, and I want to make him into a Native American face. So the beginning of this video was about that. I also want to share with you a couple of projects that I think are very exciting right now that people are doing. So I'm going to share my screen right here. Are there any questions? Do you have any thoughts or concerns? I don't want to be the only one talking, so feel free to jump in anytime you have a thought, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Let's see. Want others? Shared content. Yes. Yes. Okay. So see if you can see it, right? So I'm changing the face of my carving into, instead of George Washington from the quarter, I want to change it to the forefathers of the actual forefathers of this country. So I'm going to be carving other profiles into the soap and then washing them away as I go. You can, if you want to carve portraiture, feel free. If you want to carve a word or anything that doesn't serve you, since you're going to be washing these things away if it's in soap, or if you can carve it in apple, you can carve it in potato, you can carve it in wax. Any soft material, you can carve it into butter, right? And then there will be you can eat away at it as you go. And it's interesting to video or photograph how this thing will get used in the process. There's more about that in the current assignment on my RCC, and I'll go through that. But I wanted to show you a project by Jessica Siegel, and it's her reverse alchemy project. Hold on, I'm gonna check for. what she did was she took the idea of gold, and she wanted to reverse what we in culture are currently doing, which is strip mining and taking away all the minerals from the land, right? And the most important mineral that we excavate from the land is gold, right? So what she wanted to do is she wanted to return the gold back to the earth. And the way she did that is she took initially this horse into the gallery and she fed it straw, but the straw was plated. She put gold leaf, which is this very, very thin leaf of actual gold, and it's wrapped around the straw. So anyway, the horse eats the gold, the mineral, processes it, and then she takes the excrement from the horse and brings it and puts it back into the land, which is where it belongs. She also did this piece where she collaborated with science to break actual gold away, and she made a film out of it. And what's interesting is that she had the video playing on Times Square, where she wanted to install it and show it because Times Square was the busiest sort of commercial strip, and it's where people have advertisements and things like that, and money is really, it's Times Square. So she had this playing in Times Square, but it was right during the beginning of the quarantine. So suddenly this image of the gold being broken down and going back into the environment was during the time where New York streets were empty, and the city is is suffering from economic losses. So it's just this really interesting and timely piece, and it talks about putting things back in the environment where we as humans have been colonizing and taking away from the environment throughout our existence, really. All right. What do you think of that project? What is it, Jeremy? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. It might be the video, the audio.
I said I thought it was cool.
It's interesting. Yeah, it is. It's definitely an interesting piece where this material that is so sought after, it's really money, right? Like it's the basis money, to try to think about the economy and breaking that apart and returning it to the environment. We have to understand how critical our environment is to our bodies. We think we're sort of separate from it, but through this experience with the COVID, we're absolutely not separate, right? There's no separation between the air around us and between this whole ecology of our living. So two assignments. One is to take soft material and carve into it. It could be a word, it could be a concept, an idea. Someone from the other class is carving a word like inequality, and she's carving it into wax, and then she's taking a video of it burning away. So something, it could be out of wax, it could be any soft material that is changeable. You can think about maybe something that doesn't serve our culture anymore. I think inequality is certainly an important thing to address, especially right now, right, where there's discrepancy of who contracts the disease. Some people in the world don't have a space or a home to have social distancing, right? They're living six feet in proximity, and they don't have the chance to actually have more physical distance. So it's important to understand that, and it's important to address those inequalities. You guys are essential workers. You should have essential pay and overtime. Are you getting pay and overtime right now?
Overtime, yes. Not additional wages on top of what I was already receiving.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to now talk to your bosses and say, listen, I'm putting myself at risk. Like, I need and I deserve a pay. I'm going out there when no one else is, right? So it's important to fight now to understand that you are what's keeping the country going. And you deserve to be, essential workers need to be paid essential pay. People in the grocery store needs to be paid a livable wage and have health benefits, right? It's super important, and it's super, it shouldn't have been otherwise. You should have always had proper pay and proper benefits. So something like that, right? Like, and take anything in culture that you don't agree with and you don't like, and carve it into something and wipe it away. Put it in a stick of butter and eat it. I don't know, whatever you want. Okay, so that's number one. And the way to give me that assignment is to just photograph or video that word or that sculpture disappearing. Okay, so that's one assignment. And this assignment, I think we have about a week or two. I'll extend it if we need to, maybe by the 29th. Okay. The final assignment, I want to find a balance. You're welcome to do, if you feel like you want to carve, or if you feel like you want to sculpt, feel free to do that. Okay, so you can create sculptures if you have the material with whatever material you have around. Or you can think about the importance of not doing. I think for the majority of people in your class, you really have to take a balance to your work ethic, right? You guys are overworked, and it's not okay. You need a balance of rest. So if you want to give me, I know some, Charisse is overworked right now, stressing with her husband in the hospital. If you, and I told her, if you just want to send me a picture of you resting and sleeping and or meditating or doing yoga or something that's beneficial for your health right now, I'll see that as credit. Okay, I'll give you credit for that. Sometimes it's important. We do as humans, and the more we are running around like we see in this condition, the more garbage we create, instead of having a space where we can enjoy the planet and not destroy it in the process. We have to be really mindful about that now. If we continue doing like we have always done for the last 200 years, this is the first time that the world has stopped in over 200 years since the machine started, right? This is it. This is the first time we're kind of living this whole new way of living right now. And there's benefits for us stopping. And we have to be careful about how we restart this whole system again, okay? So there will be a choice for the final. I will write up, and it'll be in my courses. You will have a choice to either not do, right? And you can meditate, you can write down the benefits of not doing, you can maybe stop your habitual thing that you need to produce because you need that paycheck, because you need to pay for the bills. And you know, that cycle that we get into, like, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, I don't have enough. I need to make more, I need to make more money, I need to provide for my family. It's a real stress. But then if we could realize that perhaps some of our medicine and some of our food can come from our backyard, or can be an alternative to buying it in the supermarket, maybe we could kind of reevaluate how much we're working, and maybe put in some time for, okay, I want to create a garden so that I can have both food and have a little downtime if you enjoy working in the garden. Okay, so yeah, so your final is going to be about photographing or documenting yourself from stopping your habitual way of thinking, okay? And maybe enjoying and maybe playing. I have one other video that I wanted to show you guys today. It's of somebody who's been in lockdown for, I think, 19 days. And this is the human spirit, right? You want to break free from all the confines of your everyday. So this guy decided to take a camera from the top of his room and change the room. He's a skier, or she, I'm not sure if it's a female or male. And he created this whole series of stop motion. He's just rolling around on his floor, right? But kind of playing around with the materials he has at home because he's been stuck at home for 14 days. But it shows a little bit of the, sort of the human creativity to, you know, take your bed sheets, pretend they're a mountain or Himalayas or something that you're climbing, and it really breaks through this idea that we're cooped up or we're kept inside. We can really have the freedom to really play, especially if you have children. I mean, this would be a fantastic way to get them motivated or thinking about what they could possibly, you can create with your kids, you know, take a little time to maybe play with them if you can. I know. What is it?
No, sorry, I was talking to my son. Sorry.
It's okay. That's totally okay. Yeah. If you can have moments, you can maybe play a little bit or find time to play. Don't work too hard. All right. Any questions about the final?
Nope.
About finding time to relax and finding a way to document that. Okay.
Trying to find time to relax.
Yeah. I think that's most critical, especially for your group. And then I'm really sad that we didn't have a chance to sort of complete the semester together in real space. But it is this is not bad. I like interacting with you guys in this platform as well. So next, let's see. For the rest of the night, I want you to go enjoy, relax. If you haven't had your exercise, go do some yoga, go do some stretching or whatever you need to do. Go take a bubble bath and don't do anything, sip some wine. And just record yourself relaxing. Anything else that brings you joy that you really like and enjoy doing? Besides watching TV, what else do you do for yourself? Not for your family, not cooking for your family, not cleaning the house. What do you actually do for yourself?
I listen to the music.
Do you dance?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe your final, San Joanna, is you taking a video of yourself dancing while you're cooking, whatever it is, whatever brings you joy. Jeremy, what about for you? Besides watching TV, what else do you do that's for you that you enjoy doing for yourself, for your peace of mind?
Going to the track, you know, the track right there at Madison Park High School.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you go running?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And super important right now. How often do you get to go?
So this semester I haven't got to go as much as I wanted, but the last few semesters, like maybe 3-4 times a week.
Awesome.
Myself, I will go and just do sprint because when you're there right there in the field, you have that open view of seeing the buildings in Northeastern.
Yeah.
It's near Brooklyn Station, so you have that air, the open air of it. But,
yes.
Since everything's been going on, it's been kind of hard.
Yeah, I know. If it's open and if you can go, you know, that taking a lap around the field and documenting yourself running, then I'll take that. That sounds like an awesome project.
Cool.
Okay. All right, sweethearts. Let me know if you need anything. If I can help you in any way. That's it. That 2 projects is all we have. I'm going to look at the calendar and see when we're scheduled for a final and send out an email to make sure that everybody can make. I would love everybody to at least see each other and talk about each other's project, right? So we're going to look at your project. You can talk about what you've been doing, and then I would like everybody to kind of interact and respond. So I'm going to see if I can schedule it at a time when works for everybody. That might be a little hard, but we'll do the best that we can. All right. And then next week, I will talk a little bit more about how to enjoy yourself during these crazy times. Okay.
That's good.
All right. Take it easy, guys. And I'll see you on next Wednesday. Okay. Be well. And
good night.
Thank you. And be safe. Jeremy, please.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Best to your families.
All right.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.